This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Hey, yeah, let's see how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah, I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay, hey, yeah, ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back in to another video podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. If you guys have not already read the title of this video, yes, you shall ask and you receive, right? I guess that's the best way to describe what's currently going on right now. I've been kind of in a situation with the whole Twitter people or X people. A lot of people don't feel like the Arizona Cardinals were going to do anything, but here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We got some news here from Field Yates that we're going to be diving into. But at first, I want to go and give a huge shout out here to the sponsor of the video, none other than BetUS. If you're looking for yourself a brand new sportsbook, this is the way to go. They got the fastest payouts in the industry. They also give you 125% sign up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Go ahead and check them out. The link is in the description below. And if you're watching this on the playback, it will also be pinned in the comments below as well. If you're looking for a new sportsbook, this is the way to go. So I got my guy, Mythic AZ, coming up in this piece here. We're going to be diving into Carl Lawson, training camp, all this different stuff. But let me go ahead and just give a huge shout out here to the people that are currently in the chat. We got Adrian, we got Kevin, Venom, Daniel, username, Michael. I see you guys. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Let's go ahead and bring Mythic AZ / Justin. What's up, brother, man? How are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're looking crispy, bro. Man, that camera is looking crispy.
Appreciate you. It's about time. StreamYard didn't do me justice, man. They were doing me dirty. They're making me pixelated. So hopefully I'm coming clear this time.
No. Clear as day, man. I appreciate you for coming on here. We got a lot to dive into today, and of course it's all kind of surrounding the idea that Carl Lawson is working out with the Arizona Cardinals, and obviously definitely something to talk about. Now, I do got a little graphic I want to go and bring up here, and just for the sake of, I guess let's call it breaking news, let me go and ring the bell. So let's get started here, shall we? Let's go ahead and talk about the latest breaking news here from Field Yates that ended up dropping, I think at this point, maybe 5 or 6 hours ago. So I'm a little late to this, but it's okay. No worries. At least we're covering it here. I still do think it's actually big news about, the Arizona Cardinals are potentially bringing in a guy to replace BJ Ojulari, but this is what the report says. Some notable tryouts around the NFL include Cardinals. There it is. Defensive end Carl Lawson. Now, real quick before we jump into that, 49ers. Do you see that? That's Chosen Anderson down there, or Robbie, whatever you want to call it. Chosen Anderson, a former Arizona Cardinal. Real quick before we move on over to the Carl Lawson, do you think Brandon Ayuk is as good as gone from the 49ers?
I think so. I think it's like I just don't see a way it's rekindled. It just looks like it's too far gone. I mean, if they were going to pay him, they were going to pay him now. It would have happened already. It just seems like he wants a bag to dip. And it seems like the leverage is in his court. It seems like the 49ers are done with him. Yeah. Like, hey, go find something. We'll negotiate with that team, try to get some assets back. Go get the contract you need to get. And it seems like there have been a couple deals in place. Like I heard the Patriots, there was something set in stone. They were going to give him like $30+ million. And then he's like, I don't want to go to New England.
Yeah.
Don't really blame him for that. But, I mean, you got your 30 M's. I mean, do you want to get paid? It seems like he wants both, and he does like Mike Tomlin, so I think he's trying to force his way to Pittsburgh and crack that $30 million. So good luck to him, because I don't think San Francisco's going to be able to. Like, I think they can get to like 26, 27, 28, somewhere around that realm, but I think he's good as gone. I can't see a way he's coming back.
I think,
and it's just they drafted Ricky Pearsall, and then they also are bringing in Robbie Anderson. So it's like it just seems like all signs are pointing to him hitting the hay.
It seems like it's soured for sure. Absolutely. That relationship, I agree. I think it's as good as gone. I think it's just a matter of time that the boiling of the pot of what the 49ers is kind of coming to an end. And honestly, I'm for it, right? As Cardinal fans, we like to see the destruction on other teams, especially with the NFC West. Although they're still going to be a very good team, but arguably losing one of their best wide receivers in the offense is going to be a real big blow to them. But let's talk about Cardinals, right? That's what we're all here for. Now, earlier, I believe it was yesterday, if not the day before, the Arizona Cardinals actually did sign two people, right? Delonte Hood, and then Marquise Haynes Sr. What are your thoughts on that real quick? And then I promise we're going to be moving on over to Carl Lawson.
I think it's solid depth. It's not a move that's going to push you over the top or get you anywhere. It's just kind of a veteran presence that comes in here and it'll give you some decent rotational minutes if you need it. I think they're going to rock Dennis Gardick and they're going to rock Zaven Collins, but the move we're going to be talking about in a second I think is going to be a little bit better, but yeah. I still don't know how I feel about it. And I'll explain that in a minute.
Okay, perfect. All right, I agree. Delonte Hood, as well as Marquise Haynes, definitely, depth pieces more than anything. I don't think there's really much to talk about other than that. But let's talk about Carl Lawson. With the report that came out here from Field Yates, honestly, that kind of got me a little pumped up. And one of the biggest reasons as to why is because the Arizona Cardinals almost kind of felt like we were doing the whole bargain bin thing again. And which, here's the thing. This is no knock on any of the guys that we brought in. I hope they fight for a spot, right? I hope that they make the 53-man roster. If they don't, they don't, right? But I do want the Arizona Cardinals to at least try to go out after somebody that can make a push, right? Some sort of move, right? Moving the needle a little bit. I'm not looking for a big trade. I get it. We're not Super Bowl contenders. I'm fully aware. But I do think if you want to get in the best interest of making sure Kyler Murray has the ability to compete on both sides of the ball, and I mean, like, having a good defense as well as good offense to win games, I feel like this is the right move. And now we got this report, and I absolutely love it. But what are your thoughts overall, and just in Carl Lawson, just in general? Do you like this if he is signed? Do you not like it? What are your thoughts?
See, the thing with Carl Lawson is his time in Cincinnati was very off and on. He would play 16 games, he would get like 7.5 sacks. Then he'd miss time with injury. Then he would come back and have another good season. Then he'd get hurt. Then he went to New York, I believe, for 2 seasons, had one good year, and then he went and barely played and got hurt. So it's like, I don't know. The thing with Carl Lawson is there's been spurts where he's very dominant as a power rusher. But the thing is, does he still have that at almost 30 years old? I'm not sure. They're bringing him in for a workout for a reason. So they're going to be able to grasp a lot more than we know right now. He says he's fully healthy. He tweeted it himself. I don't hate the move, though, because of the potential and the upside that it can bring, and we do need help at that position, and it's probably going to be cheap. It's something that we can actually afford without giving up assets. That's kind of the big thing here. I talked about this on my channel, talking about Hassan Reddick, Matt Judon, just names that were like thrown around. Hassan Reddick makes no sense to me because the Jets don't even want to pay him because he's asking for so much money. Like, I can't see Hassan Reddick getting signed for anything under like 26. And I don't think we want to throw a 29-year-old $26 million for 3 years annually or whatever the heck he's asking for. Matt Judon's a little more realistic, but me personally, I wouldn't throw anything more than like a 5th-round draft pick because then you have to pay him as well and extend him. And I wouldn't want a 31-year-old edge rusher for multiple seasons. Like, that's just me personally. I think Monty Ossenfort has a direction for this team. It's build young. We lost one of those young players. You got to come fill him with somebody, and I thought it was going to be Yannick Ngakoue. And Carl Lawson's a great name, too. I mean, that fills literally the void, the 1-year contract, bring him in, see how he performs. And if he performs well, I mean, you can bring him back for another year and have him either mentor BJ Ojulari or have him as insurance.
Yeah.
So I don't hate the move.
I agree. I think this honestly moves more of the needle than the other two signings. Obviously, I think the Arizona Cardinals are doing a good thing by the Arizona Cardinals organization by going out here and actually working and trying to make some sort of move, because I think we've talked about this before where this Arizona Cardinal team, like, the unknown with the edge position is so unknown. Like, it's so unknown, right? And we were confident, we were comfortable with BJ Ojulari heading into this, and I think we were both confident saying, yes, we want us a year too. But now that he went down, we can say, yes, Zaven. Me and you, we're pro Zaven. We want him to succeed, right? But at the end of the day, we just don't know what this edge group's going to be. Now, if we can get some sort of help, I'm all for it, man. And like you said, this is going to be a cheap deal. Like, I've seen some people here on X. I've seen people here on, like, Instagram. They say like the same things over and over again. Oh, why do this, right? We're not all in. This is not an all-in move, right? This is a 1-year deal, a potential guy that can come in here and maybe be was it Dwight Freeney? Who knows? Maybe. You don't know, right? Why
I don't know
not
if
bring
we'll
him
get that
in?
kind of production, but
I know. I'm not going to
you
put him
never
on
know,
that
because
pedestal.
that's one of the greatest edge rushers of all time, regardless
True.
of whatever. I mean, 33 years old,
True.
and he can still come in here and get to the quarterback.
True.
I mean,
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to put him on that pedestal. Right. 100%. I don't. But you don't know. You don't know what he's going to be doing for your defense. Right. And I think that will give a level of excitement for Cardinals fans, and I guess a little bit of ease. This is not going to be an expensive deal. This is not going to derail the organization if we sign him for a 1-year deal, because next year,
$5 million, it's not going to hurt.
He's off the books. He's off the books, right? Unless the Cardinals do like him, then they potentially give him, hey, let's see what you can do again. And then maybe we get him again. You don't know. But I do think this is a solid potential signing for the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm absolutely all for it. I think this is definitely a step in the right direction, and I'm loving what Monty's doing, man. I'm loving what Monty's doing. Let me get to my guy Deus here. He had to put the tune on there. Super chat coming our way. Appreciate you. Thank you so very much, Deus. He says this. Tune! Let's effing go Cards. Go Mike and go Justin. 12-5 NFC West Division / Conference champs. I hope we don't keep fumbling / pick six machine Ritter, who couldn't take a hit if he was playing Blackjack 21. Okay, we're going to be diving into training camp a little later on. I appreciate the $10 donation. What are your thoughts real quick on the 12-5 Cardinals?
I don't even want to get hope up. I mean, I can't say it's not possible. Do I think it's likely? Probably not. I mean, I'm shooting 8 to 10. That's where I'm shooting for, 8 to 10. If we can get up to 12, then I'm probably going to lose my SH. But, that's for later in the season. I'm not going to come in here with any expectations, just that we're going to be better than last year. Otherwise, I'm going to get let down.
Yeah, no.
I'm not ready for that.
I agree with that. And we're going to talk about Clayton Tune. I promise you we'll talk about Clayton Tune a little later on when we go to the training camp segment. So, okay. So here we are right now, right? You saw the depth chart. I saw the depth chart. I think we both can agree that edge is a big, big need. Looking at the depth chart, or not just depth chart, but just, I guess, the Cardinals, is there any other position that you're worried about? Now, granted, we're just going into preseason, right? They still have the 53 cut down. Cardinals could still claim people off waivers. That's a still thing. But is there any other position right now that you're worried about?
Like worried about or confused at rotation?
I guess worried about, and then we'll talk about the confused a little later, because I think you're referring to the 53-man roster.
Yeah. Or just how it's ordered right now. So, or worried about, I would say edge is kind of it right now.
Yeah.
I like the way everything else is playing out. Like corner could be a little concerning depending on how Sean Murphy Bunting plays. But if he can come in here and perform, I'm not really worried about it. Everything else, I think we're solid. We raised the floor on everything. The people last year who stepped up are now backups. And it seems like we finally have depth at like defensive line, which we didn't have last year. Inside linebacker, I love the way that room's shaping out, especially with Mac Wilson joining it. Safeties with Adrian, Taylor Demirson in the back end. I think that's going to be great for us too. Like the defense, I think finally has backups, and Dante Stills is like our 4-string defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Or like our backup nose, whatever he's listed at. But like we just have depth. Right. So I think the only thing I'm like genuinely concerned about is I think it's just outside linebacker. Yeah. That's honestly it. Maybe inside offensive line, interior offensive line, just because Froholt went down. And if we have an injury like that, then I would be a little concerned. But he's good to go. So right now, as it stands, if everyone's healthy, minus BJ Ojulari, outside linebacker, defensive end, it's kind of my only concern. But if Carl Lawson comes in here, it kind of patches that hole for now.
Patches. Yeah, great. It's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid fix, but it's definitely something for the Cardinal fans to get a little eased heading into the regular season, which honestly, like, even if we get a couple, like 2 or 3 or 4 sacks from him, I think that would be a W for him. But anyways, right. Okay, I agree with you. I think that is one of the biggest worries for the Arizona Cardinals. Now let's talk about what you were confused with, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I was very confused with the 53-man roster for I think it was 2 different positions. Give me your one, I'll give you my one, and you give me your second, and I'll give you my second if you have one.
Okay, I'm starting with running back. I think that is very confusing to me. I mean, seeing Trey Benson at running back too was crazy, considering how they're kind of treating the rookies, or kind of like making them earn it. Mm-hmm. Like I think Me personally, I think Starling Thomas has deserved the nod as of now, but Max Melton in training camp looked good. I think that can go either way. So that's just like one of the position battles you see. You see Darius Robinson as a backup as well. So it's kind of like you thought the rookies were just going to have to earn it. He would be kind of buried down a little bit, but like, okay, the expectation is for him to perform in preseason and get elevated as it goes. Trey Benson's already running back 2 on the depth chart, and Jonathan Gannon said this doesn't matter, but of course I'm going to look into it, and I'm going to overvalue what I'm looking at. And then Michael Carter is behind DJ Dallas as running back 5.
Yeah.
That is crazy to me. Michael Carter, who came in here, and I believe he had 5 yards a carry in his tenure with the Cardinals, is running back 5 he's under DJ Dallas, which I think is crazy because Greg Dortch is listed as the return man, and in camp, Greg Dortch was taking punts, kicks as the first teamer, and when he has the ball in his hands, he makes people miss. So I think he's going to win that spot. So DJ Dallas being over Michael Carter as a pure running back kind of has me concerned because I like Michael Carter. I think he's really good. And I think he just brings something that Chase Edmonds kind of had where he has like the dynamic ability and he has the ability to make people miss. And when he had the opportunity last year, he was balling. So I thought DeMarcado was actually going to be our running back 2 going into the preseason based on the camp he was having. And then I heard Jonathan Gannon rave about it as well. So not only did he pass my eye test, but Jonathan Gannon raved about him too. And I was like, oh, it'll probably be running back 2, and then it'll probably be Benson, and then Carter, and then DJ Dallas. Way off. It's not even close to that. So I guess my eyes deceive me.
No, that's fair. I mean, that's fair. I'm not going to lie to you. I loved seeing Trey Benson at 2, but it is pretty weird because it does seem like, well, it's tough because Amari DeMarcado in training camp did have a lot of reps with the ones. When James Conner was, not running with the ones, it was Amari DeMarcado over Trey Benson. Yeah. That's the truth. But I'm not sure if you saw the same thing, but to me, Trey Benson was used with the second and the thirds, or second in the threes. But like it almost kind of felt like to me that they were trying to use his abilities and try to give him some sort of workload to kind of get him ramped up. Now, to what? I don't know, right? I don't know. Now, granted, this is going into week 1 of preseason, not the regular season. But if it does shake out like this, 100%, what I would like to see is the 4 running backs. Obviously, James Conner. I'm cool with either Trey Benson or DeMarcado switching back and forth. I mean, obviously, because I love Trey Benson, I would have him at 2. But if it's DeMarcado, I don't mind. But we got to bring in Michael Carter. We gotta, like, right? If we're going to cut somebody, like, I doubt we're going to carry 5 running backs. Like, if we carry 4, one of them, like, well, that's the tough part because DJ Dallas was said to be the punt returner, the kick returner, right? So if he's no longer here, maybe Greg Dortch can be slotted into that guy. But we also did see Trey Benson, and I'm not sure if you saw that, also being used as a potential punt returner as well. So are the Cardinals trying to be, I don't know, kind of using one of their guys as a rookie to be a punt returner? I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, we also saw Greg Dortch in the backfield too for like some sets. So, I mean, they might try to implement him in kind of that Rondale Moore-esque role, but to a better capability because Greg Dortch is a better player. I don't know how they want to play this thing. So that might ultimately, off skill set, get Michael Carter cut out of here.
Man, that would break my heart. I feel like Michael Carter brings a level of a different type of running back for this offense. Yeah. I feel like DeMarcado, James Conner, and Trey Benson are not the same type of runners, but they're similar, that it is a sore thumb that Michael Carter is different. And I like that differentness that he brings. And it concerns me that he might get cut. But I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see. That's a good one. That's a good one to point out. Let me give you mine. One that I was confused about was the quarterbacks.
Yep, that was my other one.
Yep. Desmond Ridder should not be number 2. Now, okay, no. I'm not going to freak out about it because we're heading into week 1 of preseason, not regular season. But we heard Jonathan Gannon come out and say, and he raves about Tune as well, and he said that he's given him the opportunity to fight for that number 2 spot. See, so far what we're seeing with that first depth chart, it's not what it is. It almost kind of feels like we traded for him. Let's see what he can do. Clayton Tune, what he's done in training camp, absolutely deserves to be that number 2. Desmond Ridder, what he's done in training camp, deserves to be number 3. He
deserves to be cut.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you could say that.
If I'm being honest, sir.
You could say that.
Like, I genuinely believe it. Like, I'm not even sitting here, like, talking. I get he's an NFL player, but, like, I don't know how, like, that is a difficult stretch to throw that many interceptions in a training camp. Like, I feel like that's like Nathan Peterman-esque. I think that's really, really bad, the training camp that he had. Like, outside of the legs, his throwing ability is just hot garbage from what we've seen in training camp. Now, obviously, he's young. He's younger than Clayton Tune, but by a year. And I'm surprised he got the nod, too. I'll let you finish it off, and then I'll touch on it more. But, like, definitely shocking.
It very. Now, the only thing I can think of, because we are heading into week 1 of preseason, right? I want to be very, very clear on emphasizing it's just we're going into week 1 of preseason. The only thing I can think of is that he's got the experience. He's got the experience over Tune, which obviously he does. Tune's only played 1 NFL game compared to what Desmond Ridder has done, right? He's played multiple games starting because of what's been happening in Atlanta. So that's the only thing I can think of. My only issue is that I do not want Clayton Tune to get his development stunted again like it did happen last year with bringing in Josh Dobbs. And Josh Dobbs was a cute story. It was nice in the beginning, right? Oh, Josh Dobbs. And I still remember all the people, what they were saying. But anyways, I just don't want that development to stop his growth, because I think that Clayton Tune could potentially be a quarterback too for the Cardinals. I'm not talking about for the future. I'm just talking about help this year. You know what I mean? And I think it would be really cool to see it. But that's one of the main reasons why I'm really excited about preseason. I think this is going to be a very exciting preseason to me, just because the quarterbacks, the running backs, the cornerbacks as well. There's a lot of different battles to kind of look into. So I'm excited about that. Let me shoot it on over to you, and then I'll give you my next.
So I know you have attended a couple training camps as well.
Yep.
So the thing with Desmond Ridder that I'm not a fan of is, like, either he is super hesitant or he's throwing a hospital ball. Like, you see his progressions look very slow. I don't know if you've noticed it, but like, even like I'm sitting here recording behind the camera and I'll watch someone make an out route and you'd think that'd be the first read. Just a quick hot, whatever. Like, that's a hot read. Wide open on an out route. Literally no one in the flat. Safety retreated. And I'm like, out route, wide open. He like looks that way, shifts his focus, has nothing, pump fakes, and then he like steps up and just gets contained. And I'm like, bro, oh my gosh, that happens so many times. Or he's throwing hospital balls that in like live reps will not work. And I'm sure you've seen it too, or anyone who attended training camp has seen it. Like, he throws it in traffic. Either it's batted, picked, or complete for now. But in a live rep, you're getting your receiver killed. His head is gone. And it's just like, I don't understand it. I don't know what they're seeing. And I guess he does have the experience, but like, I'd rather try to grow the young Clayton Tune, who's been here for 2 years. Desmond Ridder's been in the league. This is year 3.
Yeah.
And I get there's that 1 year age gap, but Clayton Tune is a 2-year in this system quarterback. I think he looks decent. The only thing Clayton Tune kind of lacks for me is arm strength. But like, when it comes to accuracy, when it comes to, I like his throwing motion a lot better too. Desmond Ridder kind of has that like sidearm, like hitchy kind of thing. And like, the only quarterback that I've like really enjoyed with that throwing motion is Matthew Stafford. Outside of that, I mean, Desmond Ridder, I don't know. I don't know. It seems like Clayton Tune is also taking note of like just little things, like the way he like play actions. It's kind of like Aaron Rodgers-esque too, the way he like holds it, like acts like he has the ball and then you'll boot out. Like, I've noticed that too. Just like the little things from Clayton Tune. It seems like he's trying to pick up on mannerisms, how to get better. But I think there is a lack there of arm strength. And that's kind of the thing with Ridder that they might be rocking with, is because he has that zip and he has the experience. They might let him prove it. But I don't know.
That is exactly why I feel like he's number 2. But I mean, it's three games of training camp, or sorry, of preseason. I mean, let's see what Clayton Tune could do. Let's see what because I'm excited to see what Weaver can do. I know he's gonna get some reps towards with the threes and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see how this is gonna work out here in general. If you guys don't know, our first preseason game is this Saturday, which is what 3 days. So yeah, super excited about that. But is there any other positions that you saw that you're like, what the heck is going on? Or is that kind of
honestly just those two?
Yeah, those two.
And honestly, this doesn't really matter because it's not finalized. It's kind of just something they threw out, and they're probably just going to be like, okay, you're going to get reps with this group. You're going to get reps with this group. So none of it really matters. As soon as we see performance in the preseason, if it's still looking like this, I'll be able to kind of evaluate a little bit better. But what I'm seeing in camp, those are the only 2 things that have surprised me. And actually being there and kind of seeing it with my own eyes, it kind of makes it a lot easier to make these judgments because, like, I'm actually watching it. I'm not in every single one because not everything is open to the public. Like, tomorrow's training camp isn't open to the public. but I mean, it's a lot easier to tell. So those are the two things that shocked me the most.
I agree. Let me throw in something real quick. It's not so much a shock, but I want to give kudos to Starling Thomas V.
Facts.
Man, wow, that's so amazing. Does it suck for Max Melton? Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things.
He's going to be a
where,
rotational piece, though.
yeah, he could still be a rotational piece there as well. So I think the way it's going to work out, and let me know if you think the same way. I think the way it's going to work out is I think it's going to be Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Garrett Williams. If you're having two cornerbacks on the field, I think that's what it's going to be. I think when it's a nickel package, I think Garrett Williams is going to move to the slot, and then we're going to be getting Starling Thomas V or Max Melton, just kind of really depending on what happens here in preseason. Do you feel like that's going to be the same? Think that's going to happen, or do you not think that's going to happen?
I think that's what's going to happen. I think Garrett Williams will tend to be the slot over anything. I don't know how many three cornerback sets we're going to be rocking, but if it's going to be three corners, I think it's going to be Starling Thomas, Garrett Williams in the slot, and then Sean Murphy-Bunting on the outside. I just think that's what we're going to rock with personally, just because I do think Starling Thomas has looked impressive in camp. I really think he's earned this.
I agree.
As a year two player, too, he looks way better than he did last year already, and I know it's just camp, but he looks good. He looks great.
No, I'm so excited, man. I'm just excited for football to be back. I know it's preseason, I get it, but I'm just excited about it. We got a lot of second-year players that want to make a big jump. Let me ask you this real quick, and then we're gonna just take a real quick break. Just kind of shout out here from the sponsors. One player right now, just on the top of your head, second-year player that's going into their second year with the Cardinals. Who's gonna be that breakout player for you?
Second year. Let me go ahead and get a refresh of that draft real quick. For some reason, it slipped my head. Who did we take last year? Why I'm like blinking really hard.
Garrett Williams, Michael Wilson.
Oh yeah.
You can't be BJ anymore.
I think it's pretty easy for me. I think there's two guys. I think it's going to be Garrett Williams, but I think the bigger leap is going to be Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson, yeah.
I think that's where the biggest leap is going to be. I think he has the potential to be the team's leading receiver this year. And I think we actually have a good set of receivers if they all stay healthy. That's kind of my concern with Michael Wilson and Kyler Murray is health. But if they stay healthy, oh my Lord, Michael Wilson was feasting in training camp. Feasting.
It's so funny because I have a stream that I also do here when I'm a part of Roundtable Sports, which we have the NFC West kind of in a specific stream. A lot of people are not looking at the Cardinals like we're in any day. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. But they're talking Seahawks are potential 10 wins. I'm like, you guys are drunk. You guys are so high that you're thinking that the Cardinals are going to be 6-5 wins. Like they're like, you're going to be better, but you're not going to be. I was like, no, we got a squad. If Kyler can stay healthy, we can be dangerous, man. Like arguably we got Trey Benson. What, right? One of the top 10, top 5, whatever you want to call it. Young tight end that's up and coming. We got one of the best running backs if he can stay healthy. We got Marvin Harrison Jr., and we're all hoping that he's advertised. Our wide receiver one. Michael Wilson, nobody really talks about. Greg Dortch has a chip on his shoulder for the longest time. Our offensive line seems to finally gel with each other. And on top of that, Kyler Murray's now mature to the level of he's taking these guys out to Southern California to work out. He's doing all these things to work out and making sure that all the little fine details that he needs to do as a leader, as a quarterback, as somebody that they're going to look up to saying, what should I do? He's taking those steps. How are people overlooking the Arizona Cardinals is beyond me. I don't get it. It's nuts.
I think it's disrespectful, but I mean, at the same time, I do understand it because of how we performed last year.
It's fair.
So it's hard to sit here, and if you're not internally dissecting it, oh, you're just a 4-win team, and okay, you got your quarterback back, but when he was here, you guys only won 3-5. You guys went 3-5 in the back end. People don't really know that, but we were in 5 of those games. We were in the Houston game that we lost, and then the Seattle game that we lost. We could have easily had an even record, or even better than that. We could have had a positive record. And I have a question about Kyler Murray's leadership, because exactly what you said, I think this is kind of finally the first time everyone is around his age, and he's kind of comfortable. Coming into this, he had 2 Arizona Cardinals legends, 2 of the top 5 best players in franchise history, in my opinion. And Larry Fitzgerald, who is the best, and then Patrick Peterson, who's a fringe 5 to 8. So it's kind of hard coming into a team this is my team now when you have Larry Fitzgerald. Yeah. How are you supposed to come into here when Larry Fitzgerald's 38 years old and you're 21, 22, and you're just hey, I'm going to take control? Fitz obviously wanted to give him the reins. Hey, listen, this is your team. You tried to hype him up and kind of get him to take that. But it's it's hard. Right? It's hard. Sometimes it takes you a minute to kind of get comfortable. Okay, I'm talking to grown men here as someone who's coming from college, and I'm trying to just rally these guys around me when they're all older and they're all like 28, 29, 30. Like even the team that we had in 2021, I mean, we had DeAndre Hopkins, Rodney Hudson, DJ Humphries. Like we had like a ton of old guys on the offense. Zach Ertz. Like all these guys are old.
Yeah.
This is the first time where he kind of has people his age or like around his age that he can relate to. And that is huge. And I think he's kind of like, hey, okay, you know what? I am a veteran. I can like vocalize. This is my team. I'm going to rally these guys around me. They trust me. They're coming, like they're listening to what I'm saying. And I kind of like, he has command and he knows he has command and they listen. Like this is the first time I've seen this year. I think. And after the ACL tear, I think he kind of like realized football is not something guaranteed. He loves the game. He loves the game of football. He could have played baseball. He could have made way more money. He wants to win a Super Bowl. Like that's the thing that people also like to overlook. But the thing is, I think he is genuinely a way better leader going into this year than anything, which I think team camaraderie and just that chemistry is going to help us win a lot more games because I think they're going to go play for each other than just playing football in general. And I'm hyped.
Absolutely. No, I'm stoked for it too. I am so stoked for it. Absolutely. Let me go and just take a real quick 15-second break here and give a shout out here to the sponsor of the video, BetUS.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
Just as Michael Vick said, links in the description below. Shout out to BetUS, the sponsor of the Arizona sports fan throughout the entire NFL season. But they also do all sorts of things, man. It's just not the NFL season. You got basketball if you're interested a little later on in the year. Baseball is most likely into that as well. They got the fastest payouts in the industry, and they also go ahead and give you 125 sign-up bonus up to $2,000 with your first 3 deposits. Link is in the description below, and if you're watching this on a playback, it will also be linked in the comments below as well. So, all right, let's move on over to training camp. We kind of dabbled in it a little bit. We dived into it. What is something that you want to talk about here? What is a big storyline for you in training camp? Because I think that you actually went to more training camps than I did, and it's probably like 2 or 3 different ones. How do you feel about training camp this year compared to former years in this roster?
At first, like it was a lot of walkthroughs. I'm gonna keep it real, but the first couple, and then before we padded up, I mean, they were some decent practices, and then we started running ones, and you kind of had a better look. The thing that is kind of interesting about training camp too is Kyler Murray threw no picks that I'm aware of. Every training camp I went to, he threw 0 interceptions. He looked locked in. This is a crazy team. And it looks like we have receivers who can create separation. We didn't have that last year at all. Our receivers were getting locked up.
Yeah. Absolutely
locked up. So I just think talent-wise, you can just tell it's a way different team. Night and day. Like the couple training camps I went to, I remember leaving so disappointed. Like, wow, I'm going to have to root for this team and kind of buy into the hype and kind of figure out how to hype myself up and try to get others hyped around this too. And now I'm not like that at all. I watched Colt McCoy hit freaking Marco Wilson in the back of the helmet in last year's training camp and remember leaving that. And I was just like, wow.
Got him!
Yeah, literally.
Sorry,
and I remember leaving that and I was just like, what am I watching? So I don't know. It's just night and day when it comes to talent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I remember that.
Ha Gotti was perfect for that too because that was disgusting.
I remember that, dude. That was the laugh of just the man. That's what people started remembering with the Cardinals, just how bad. And that was Colt McCoy, huh?
Colt McCoy to Marco Wilson's helmet.
Oh, buddy, yeah, that was rough, man. That was rough. One thing that I guess I want to point out here is I think that you're correct. I think that we do look better, but I think we can also the physicality with just I don't know the. How did I describe this? There was a couple fights already. I think one happened today.
There was like 4.
Oh, was there 4?
There's been like 4. It was like Froholt and somebody. It was Will Hernandez and somebody. It was I don't remember who it was. And then Murphy and somebody else today. Like there's been a good amount of fights.
Yeah. So I think I love the physicality that's coming into this training camp. Now, obviously, I think when it comes down to the physical, I don't think JG wants that. I think he likes the anger or the violence and however he says all these things. He likes all that, but that's one thing that I'm really excited about. I think the identity of this organization is completely changed. I think the Arizona Cardinals are a different team. I think the Arizona Cardinals are no longer pretty boy football, and I think that's definitely something to be excited about because this Jonathan Gannon-led organization is really exciting. Really, really exciting. Let me ask you this. Yesterday, we had Jonathan Gannon come out and say Kyler Murray isn't playing this preseason. I want to dive into that here real quick. What are your thoughts on Kyler Murray not playing in preseason?
I'm not worried about it. I'd prefer this, if I'm being honest with you. This is probably the route that I would take too, just based on injury concerns. We watched in 2022 what happened as soon as the season died when it was already dead, and the optimism got sucked from the season. If Kyler Murray goes down, we have to rock with Clayton Tune or Desmond Ridder, because Kyler Murray got hit on a freak accident. He tore his ACL trying to make somebody miss an open space, non-contact. Imagine that happens in the preseason. Now, I don't remember how many times this has happened to a quarterback, but I do remember back in 2014, if you guys do remember, I said this in a video, speaking about Kyler not playing. Do you remember in 2014 when Sam Bradford was playing? I believe it was like the back end of the preseason for the Rams, and he got hit by a Browns defender, tore his ACL, was out for the year. That was his final year in St. Louis. Just imagine if Kyler Murray were to just sit here, the injury concerns are already there, and then he just takes a shot and then just pops his knee, torn ligament, whatever it is, it's just out for the year. You're going to sit there and regret everything. And all the hype and everything, it's over.
Drain.
It's over. Everything that you were preparing for and this team to take that leap is just killed because you don't have your franchise quarterback. I would keep him out, personally. That's just me. I have no concerns about this. I want to see Marvin Harrison for the first two, and then I would honestly rest him for the final one too, because we already know he's wide receiver 1 going into this thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to get a look, maybe have him play like 3-4 drives, maybe like maybe 2-3 the first game, and then the second one 3-4, and then just you're good. We're going to rest the starters, and we're just going to chill. Preseason is for everybody to kind of solidify themselves in the back end. Everyone who's starting, you don't want to lose them to a freak injury. So keep the guy who's making $50 million out of the lineup. That's probably smart.
Yeah, I think before we heard the announcement, and it might have been one of those things where sometimes I'm guilty of it as well, where I did want to see Kyler Murray for a drive or two. Don't care what game, just one game would be cool with me. But I do see, I think you have a very valid point where, one of the biggest concerns of Kyler Murray is the health, right? Why risk it, especially on a very, very meaningless game? Now, I think offenses are going to struggle in week 1 versus the Bills, but I don't think that's just the Cardinals. I think offenses in general, right? In the NFL, they struggle week 1. Defenses usually look a lot better. I just don't want that to come back and bite us in the butt. But it's going to come with the bumps and bruises. It's week 1. I just do not want to get completely destroyed. I want to be in this game with the Bills, and I in my crazy head, I feel like preseason would help, just kind of the game speed. But I get it, though. I understand why they're not bringing him in. But Marvin Harrison Jr., they haven't said anything about him. He says that he already knows what they're going to do, but he's not going to release it. Has he confirmed that he is playing? Did you hear anything?
Who?
Marvin, sorry.
Marvin, I haven't heard anything, but I would imagine he's going to get a couple of reps.
I think
just
so,
a little
too.
bit. I think it'll be like 2 or 3 drives in the first game, and then maybe 3 in the second game. I don't think we're going to see anything crazy. It might even be less than that. Kind of just go get a feel for it, come back to the sideline. Kind of like, it's just pointless. These are pointless games, especially if you know the kind of caliber player that you have. I'd rather have you learn your bumps and bruises in the season and something that matters when you can help us win, just in case you do go down. Don't want that, So if you get hurt in a meaningless game and I lose you for 6 weeks, I'm going to be mad at myself for not benching you in a meaningless game. So go get your 2 drives, come back out, kind of get the feel. That's how it feels, get the jitters out. I don't think he's really going to feel that. I think Marvin Harrison is about as professional as a rookie can get.
Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about it, but I do think he'll play. Do you think the same? You kind of feeling 2-3 drives?
I could see that. Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I don't know when it is. I usually game 3 is probably when nothing is going to happen at all in terms of starters. But one or two, I can definitely very well see a drive or two, which would be exciting, right? I think that's what a lot of Cardinal fans are kind of looking out for. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I hope he does play. Let's move on over to the Saints real quick. What do you expect out of this game? Cardinals versus Saints, and I'm not saying win, right? What are you expecting out of this game? And I'll be right back.
The thing that I'm expecting the most, or at least that I want to see, is I think both teams have interesting backup quarterback position battles going on. Us with Clayton Tune and Desmond Ridder, and then they obviously have Spencer Rattler, who they just drafted, and I think it's Jake Hayner. Yeah. So there's two interesting quarterback battles going on for both. I think those are obviously like the star positions. The Saints, I don't really know what they're looking for. I know Jamal Williams is on the roster. He's running back 2 right now. He's kind of a guy that's probably going to earn his playing time right here. I don't really know what matters for them. I really don't. I just know backup quarterback is something, because Spencer Rattler is one of those names that's obviously going to garner a ton of attention, because he's one of those names you either hate him or you love him, and that's just what it is. I mean, he's a big name, and he fell to the Saints, and there's always that optimism. I mean, Cardinals fans fell in love with Clayton Tune, so
True.
There's a lot of them, and that's the thing. You never know, but I think backup quarterback is something we have to look out for. And I just want to see a competitive football game, even if it is second stringers. I just want to watch something interesting. I don't think it's going to be high scoring. Preseason typically never is. So I don't know. If I can get a nice competitive football game where people prove themselves, I will take that. I want to see our running backs and quarterbacks perform. And hopefully if Darius Robinson gets some tick in this, I want to see him just wreak havoc, because he's looked good. He's looked good in camp.
He's a big man. Oh my god, that guy's huge. Just not even tall. Just, I mean, he's tall too, but like he's just big.
And he's a rookie. He's like 21.
Yeah,
dude, he's massive. He's not even. He doesn't even have the max strength he's gonna have. He's like 21, 22. Dude is younger than me. He's younger than me.
Yeah,
I'm at that point. I feel old. I haven't been at this point. Like the NBA, I'm used to it, because like these kids are 19 coming in here and they're freaking windmill dunking and all of that. But now, like, football players, man, are younger than me. And that guy's huge. Yeah, like, just looking at him, I'm like, okay, we're just chilling 6'5". He looks like he's like, what? Is he 6'5"? Like,
yes,
6'5", 260?
Yep.
He's
massive.
Freaking
massive
huge.
It's crazy.
Dude. He might even be more than 260, honestly. I might be undervaluing that, because if he is 6'5", he's probably in the 280s. So, dude is massive. If you see him in person, you guys are going to see exactly what I'm talking about. It's crazy, because even at camp, you look at him and you're just like, he's not that big. And then they get like really close to the thing. They're like signing autographs, and you're like, dear Lord, you're big mother.
Yeah.
Holy.
No, you're right. So 6'5", 286, brother. 286.
286. He's pushing 290.
Yeah.
And he moves the way he's moving. Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. That's
scary.
Tough.
Okay.
Big man.
Yeah. So what I want to see in this game, or I guess what I expect, development is, I guess, the big thing with the second stringers / rookies, because there is, like, I don't think we're ever in this position where, like, you're excited to see rookies that are not going to be starters. So, like, for example, right, like Max Melton, right? Max Melton isn't listed as a starter, but like he's probably going to get some reps here to kind of prove or to try to fight for a starting position. Like, I'm excited to see these rookies do something. Max Melton, I'm not sure if we're gonna see Tip Ryman, but I'm definitely gonna keep an eye for that. If Trey Benson is gonna be number 3, I don't see why he wouldn't be, especially in like the first quarter maybe. Of course, he's not gonna be the whole game. They're gonna let your people in the back, maybe your Michael Carter, your DJ Dallas, your Tony Jones Jr. I think his name is. They're probably gonna let that kind of finish off the game, maybe even the second half. But I want to see live reps versus another team. Like, that's what I'm really, really excited about. Like, I want to see what these rookies can do, because this preseason is going to be as close as you can get to a regular season game. Now, granted, the talent level isn't there, but like the game speed, because we've gone to multiple practices, and you can tell, right? One thing about training camp that I understand, but am also sad about, is the defense is not really able to show what they can truly do. Because the moment they're by Kyler, the moment they cause penetration, they got to stop. Motor's off. You can't do anything. So you can't really judge too much on the defense. But heck, man, anything's on the table when it comes down to this preseason, because, obviously they care for their fellow man, but their job is to sack that quarterback. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm really, really excited about what they can do. Let me get to the super chat here real quick. We've got my guy Dayas coming up clutch with another super chat. He says, do you think BJ is pretty much a goner now? What do you think?
No. I think they like what they have out of him. I mean, if he gets hurt year 3, then I think he's not only a goner, I think his career would be over at that point because he's had injury histories dating back to college. I mean, of course, he'll probably be able to pick up stuff, but if he gets hurt 3 years in a row, then it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. It's so unfortunate, too, because it was on something he made contact on, had hands on the lineman, leg slip, popped it. Yeah. It's just freak injury, and that's what football is. I mean, bang, bang. It's what it is. It's unfortunate. But I don't think he's a goner. I think he'll have a chance to rehab and come back into here.
Yeah.
He might have to prove himself a little more, but, I mean, I think we're going to look edge anyways next year. I think that was kind of where we should have looked. I think that's kind of where you go is edge corner, whatever
That's
you
what I was going to
one
ask
of those
you next.
two.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Regardless of where we are in the draft, do you think that has a big emphasis of making sure that we get a young rookie, or heck, maybe even a guy that's potentially going to be, a free agent, because that's technically our 3rd year of Jonathan Gannon, and why the heck are we not going for it at that point?
Yeah.
Right. Do you think that is going to be a big emphasis of edge next year?
It's going to be edge, corner, lineman. I think lineman on either side. I think that's where you go. Yeah. It depends, though. It really depends. It's so tough because we're so far out. We're so far out. I don't know what kind of production we're going to get from our corners might be toast this year. Like, I'm overvaluing Sean Murphy-Bunting probably more than I should.
Yeah.
Because it's just letting me get let down. Like, I think he's an average corner. I really do. I think he's going to be better than what we've had the past 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can come in here and be productive. Right. It's not that much harder to get better than that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's corner, edge is the front runner right now. I think edge is kind of the glaring hole. So it just depends where you're sitting at. Obviously, you can trade up, trade back. Just depends where we're sitting. And it's tough to predict that because our season can go really well, or it could hit the gutter and then things change. So we really don't know.
Yeah, because we could
have injuries throughout the year too. That might depend where we go with the roster as well.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, we can be picking, in the teens, mid, the end. I don't know, early 20. I don't know, right? We don't know exactly, but I do think that BJ Ojulari is going to stay with the Card. They're not going to flat out. I think there is a lot of potential with BJ Ojulari still. I think there's definitely a lot of potential with him. It's unfortunate he got hurt again because he was hurt coming in. It's not like he got hurt like in the NFL. He was hurt coming in, but like obviously he wasn't being used like fully because he was still trying to get better and better. But like he got hurt again in his career, so it sucks. So I think we are going to look the edge route for sure.
I think so too. I think we're going to do that anyways.
Yeah, regardless of this happened or not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he went down, the Zaven Collins extension happened.
Yeah.
So it was very quick on that. There apparently was an offer, and then it got done pretty quickly after that. I think within a 5-hour period of that announcement, I believe maybe 3 hours, probably closer to 3. It was announced. So it was like, wow. Just a lot of news that day on the way to training camp. I was like, oh, I got a training camp video. BJ Ojulari out for the season. I was like, wow, it sucks waking up to that. And then Zaven Collins extended right before his mood was through the roof. And then, I don't know. We need help. We need help.
I think we both can agree that we can be a good team. It's just we need to stay healthy. Like that's the big caveat here. Because I mean we got a franchise quarterback that we believe in that can be a really good quarterback. It's just can he stay healthy? That's the big question out there. So
the massive question.
Anything else you have before we close up shop? I think we covered a good amount of stuff. If you guys do not know, for the people that just came a little late, there was some, I guess you want to call it breaking news, but Field Yates ended up dropping this about 5 or 6 hours ago that the Arizona Cardinals are working out Carl Lawson, defensive end, and hopefully maybe tomorrow we'll hear some news because I do think that the Cardinals should make a move. But what you have anything else to kind of add?
I do see people in the chat a while ago. We're talking about Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors, and kind of just talking about that. Did you see the tweet a couple days ago, or maybe a day ago, when Malik Neighbors made the catch, and then someone put in their tweet, and it had like 4,000 likes to it, and it was like the Cardinals are probably regretting drafting Marvin Harrison right about now. And I'm like, here we go, ridiculous. Right? Like, you make one training camp catch, and it's like, I like Malik Neighbors. I really think it's close. Yeah. I really think it's 1A, 1B. I think Harrison is better than Neighbors, but I think it's really close. But I don't think there's not even 0.001% of me that regrets that pick. I would make it 50 times in a row.
Yeah.
Every single time. Every time I would do it. I think Marvin Harrison's better. I think he's the most generational prospect that we've ever seen at the receiver position. And yes, I know Calvin Johnson was taken and that mother trucker was a freak, but like, I'm telling you, like, I think we are going to get crazy production out of Marvin that we haven't seen in a long time.
Most teams would have been in the same situation. I don't care that little video came out. Did you see that Hard Knocks clip with the Giants? They're like, oh, who would you take? He was like, oh, I would take Neighbors. And, of course, that was resurfaced. Right. It was on an episode of Hard Knocks, and they got Neighbors. It is what it is. Most teams would have gotten Marvin Harrison, and I don't have any regret. I think this is still a really good pickup for the Cardinals, and I think that he's going to flourish. And I don't know. I'm not – it might be because of Larry, and I'm not trying to compare the guy, but I see him, and I see a guy that just cares about ball. We don't see him in all these extra activities. Now, I don't care. I get it. Everybody's young, right? Everybody wants to go out here and do stuff. They want to go party. They want to do – I don't care. That's fine. But I do like the idea that my quarterback loves to stay in and play video games. I don't care. Like, he's not getting into trouble. And then we got Marvin Harrison Jr. just cares about ball. That's what I care about, man. Don't get in trouble, man. I don't care.
No, real talk. Like, I don't want to have, oh, this guy's a DUI. This guy has whatever. This guy is speeding. This guy almost killed somebody. This guy got in a car accident. Yeah. Like, I'm good. I'm really good. I don't want drama like that. Like, back then in our championship run, I would have been like, hey, I know Antonio Brown just quit on the team. I'll take him. Right now, we have no D-Hop. We have no nothing. Screw it. All right? Like, go all in. I mean, this is your last opportunity to do anything. I was all in for that. Like, I've been – that team drama, why not? But like, not with this regime, bro. Yeah, but not this regime. Like, this is something where it's like, you don't want a bunch of just old guys just to patch it up.
Yeah.
You don't want a whole bunch of whatever. Like, I'll take the older guy, like Carl Lawson. He's only like 29, I think. I'll take him, right? Because that's a Band-Aid. It's not a long-term solution. It's not like we're giving him a multi-year Matt Judon trade for him and then whatever. I mean, how many of those panned out for Keim? Like, let's be for real. Like, a couple of them worked, a couple of them didn't. And that's just what it is. Like, I think the Rodney Hudson one, you could argue, panned out a little bit, but he also missed a ton of time. And when he wasn't playing, it was like the worst football you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, Rodney Hudson was the key to everything, and he couldn't stay healthy. So I'd say it was a good trade. I would make it again. Like, the Zach Ertz trade was solid. But, like, it's just, you don't want to go out here and just trade for a bunch of veterans who have 2 years in them and give up like a 4th round draft pick when it's like, okay,
the problem
that didn't really help us.
To me, the problem wasn't the trades with Keim. Obviously, last year was the drama.
It was everything else but the trades.
Yeah,
I think the trades were the highlight.
Literally everything else but the trades. Unfortunately, even his free agent pickups a lot of the times didn't work. His drafts were horrendous.
Terrible.
And I couldn't, like, I couldn't make myself happy about these draft picks because I knew darn well that it wasn't going to work, or I didn't want to fluff people saying, oh, this is going to happen or this is going to happen, because I didn't believe in any of these guys, and it tripped me out. Now, granted, the Isaiah Simmons, there was a lot of hype around him. I truly wanted CeeDee Lamb back then, and we already had DeAndre Hopkins, so I heard everybody, we don't need CeeDee Lamb, we have DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, that bit us in the butt now, right? But anyways, the whole Isaiah Simmons situation, when we drafted him, I was like, okay, cool, Swiss Army knife, let's see what he can do. But it also depends on, like, the coaching staff. It depends on the surroundings. It depends on the system. Everything depends on how we can make this young player molded to be a great player for your organization. And the Arizona Cardinals weren't there. With this regime, he might work. He might have worked. We probably could have put him in a good situation. You don't know. But I don't know. It's just, it was constant things. That was the problem with Keim. It wasn't his trades. I don't care if Monty does a trade, to be honest with you. I think that would be cool. But it's his drafts. We weren't set up for a future. We literally had a 1-2 year window. We rebuild for 5 or 6 years because his drafts were so terrible.
You would never rebuild though.
Yeah,
like
true.
It would just be a retool with veterans. And
True.
It was like, I mean, I guess I became content with that, right? Like I just became content because it's like, okay, we might be able to compete because we brought X and X, and then you find out he's just extremely washed and doesn't fit the system at all. And then he's like, okay, this guy's absolutely dog water at football right now and just isn't worth competing. Like I don't even remember who we took the last time Kime was in the draft. Was it the BJ Sanders one? I really didn't like anything about that draft. That's where we traded Hollywood.
Yes, the
like
last
Trey
draft.
McBride panned out, but like outside of that, like I really tried. Like BJ Sanders is someone like it was a potential pick, right? Like he was gonna have to put on weight. He was gonna have to come in here and develop. And it was like someone I like tried to buy into, like Cam Thomas. I was just like I was trying to buy into that. Like I really tried my hardest. Even Trey McBride at the time was questionable to me. I'm gonna keep it real.
Who was? I'm sorry.
Trey McBride last year. Or not last year, but in 2022, it was questionable because we traded our first round for Hollywood, and I tried to buy into like everything, and that was just me being fake optimistic. Like Hollywood Brown at the time, I think at first is kind of crazy, but like I would trade for him for like the second. I don't hate that at all. I mean, go in for your quarterback, smart move. And right, obviously hindsight's 2020, but like that whole draft in my eyes was questionable.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's a single pick there besides McBride where it was like. Even McBride then was questionable to me. Like it panned out, it worked out.
Well, because they didn't use him. They got him
and
early.
We have Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
And even last year he wasn't getting used because he wasn't blocking. But now McBride is kind of like flourished. And I wanted to see McBride. I remember hopping on a podcast with you and being like, okay, let's see what you got. Zach Ertz coming off ACL. It's not working out the 2 weeks. I mean, there's a couple balls sailing over his head. He doesn't have the vertical jump anymore. Let's get the young guy in. And they finally did it after like week 3, 4. And it worked out. But Kime was
the
a therapy
Hollywood
session.
And I've said this before, and I'm gonna stick to my guns. I think the Hollywood move was intentionally to try to save face with Kyler. I think the whole homework addendum, everything was just so ugly that I think Kime tried to save face with Kyler Murray, and he tried to get his buddy in here. Although we needed a center, although we could have used somebody else because it was a late round pick too. So like we could have gotten like somebody that would be a focal point in our offensive line. It's just one of those things. Let me get to my guy Illa Dre here. He has a super chat. He says Marvin Harrison Jr. had a trash QB. Neighbors had a better QB. Marvin Harrison Jr. is better. I think he's talking about in college. Where who was Marvin Harrison's QB? Was it what was his name? Please forgot his name. I guess that's how bad. Maybe it wasn't bad, but like. You can't compare Jaden Daniels, right? Jaden Daniels was...
Yeah, Jaden Daniels is Malik Neighbors, but Marvin Harrison. Who was their QB? Let me look it up.
Was it McCord or Cord or...
Was it?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's like McCord or something like that.
Oh, Kyle McCord, right?
McCord.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, that's who it was. Yep, it was Kyle McCord. Yep.
Really?
So
I don't know why that name is blanking. I can't even find it. Finding college rosters are so hard. I think it's Kyle McCord, though. That sounds right.
Yeah,
white dude.
And imagine he had a Joe Burrow, or imagine he had a Jaden Daniels that went second pick overall or first overall with Joe
40
Burrow.
touchdowns.
Yeah, it'd be nuts. It would be nuts.
Right.
So yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm happy where we are. I think the Cardinals are making the right strides. And nobody lie to yourself. If the Cardinals go after Carl Lawson, we're not derailing this organization because we're not signing for a 3-year deal. It's like a 1-year deal. It's going to be a guy that could potentially bring us some sort of push, some oomph on that outside linebacking line. So I'm for it. Hopefully we get some breaking news tomorrow. But we're going to be closing up shop. We're going here to the hour mark. Another huge shout out here to BetUS, the sponsor of the Arizona Sports Fan here throughout the entirety of the NFL season. If you're looking for a brand new sportsbook, BetUS is the way to go. Check out my description. The link is in the description below, and I will also have it in the comments below as well. Let me just do a real quick graphic that they have going on currently right now. If you do want to get onto this BetUS has the Cardinals at under 6.5, and like Kyler said before, bet the over, right? So if you want to bet the over, link is in the description below. Last thing I want to say before we let everybody go, subscribe to This channel, as well as Mythic AZ, is on the road to 7K, ladies and gentlemen. Help a brother out. Search up Mythic AZ on the YouTube search. Go and check out his content. Really, really good stuff. Mythic, anything you want to say before we let the fine people go?
I think that's it, man. Optimism is through the roof. Different season. Can't wait for the 10th. We're 3 days away, almost 2. I don't think I've been this hyped for a preseason game in 3-4 years. We got rookies to look forward to. There's optimism in the desert, man. I'm ready.
Bring on football, ladies and gentlemen. I'm super excited. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Cards.
Got him!